Cleveland Browns just executed a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL world. Veteran quarterback Joe Flacco has been traded to their division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the implications go far beyond a simple roster adjustment. On paper, it might look like a minor swap, a routine transaction with little consequence, but anyone paying attention knows this isn't about football alone. This is about power, influence, and a franchise at a crossroads. This trade represents the culmination of weeks of internal battles, ownership pressure, and fan outrage, all boiling over into a single, game-changing decision. For Browns fans who have lived through decades of quarterback disasters, from Bernie Kosar's departure to Tim Couch's struggles, from Brady Quinn's disappointment to Baker Mayfield's collapse, this isn't just news. This is a cultural moment, a dramatic turning point that might redefine the team's identity for years. Joe Flacco's time in Cleveland was always complicated. He wasn't just a player, he was a placeholder, a buffer protecting the team's developing talent while also shielding the coaching staff from tough decisions. Every snap he took sparked debate, every post-game interview fueled speculation, and every practice repetition seemed to intensify controversy. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike watched closely, questioning whether the Browns' leadership would finally make the move everyone knew was coming, elevating the rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Today, that move has happened, and the shockwaves are only beginning to ripple through the league. The trade itself might seem minor on paper. Flacco, a conditional 7th-round pick to the Bengals, in exchange for a 6th-rounder and future considerations. Some executives reportedly scoffed, calling it giving him away. But transactional details are irrelevant when you consider the broader picture. This isn't just about swapping quarterbacks. This is about ownership asserting authority, coaches adjusting, or surrendering, their philosophies, and a franchise making a public statement about the future it envisions. Jimmy Haslam's influence has now been firmly cemented. Kevin Stefanski's carefully constructed plans for player development and veteran stability have been overridden, replaced with a mandate that puts the spotlight squarely on a rookie with everything to prove. The drama extends beyond front office politics. Locker rooms are abuzz with speculation, veterans divided over the timing and handling of the trade, and fans across social media are exploding in reaction. Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, and Facebook are flooded with discussion, celebration, and debate. Finally, after years of disappointment, there's hope, but also an undeniable tension. This isn't just a quarterback change, it's a gamble, a calculated risk with high stakes. Flacco's departure creates an immediate strategic advantage for the Bengals, giving them insider knowledge, while the Browns face the ultimate test. Can a rookie quarterback thrive amid organizational chaos, media scrutiny, and sky-high fan expectations? Every angle of this story demands attention. Ownership, coaching, players, and fans are all pieces of a puzzle now being forced together under extraordinary pressure. The question is no longer, who will start? Or, who will lead the offense? It's bigger than that. This is about a franchise redefining itself in real time, about a rookie quarterback stepping into the eye of the storm, and about the Cleveland Browns' organizational identity being tested in front of the entire football world. Welcome to the Shedeur Sanders era, a story already electrifying, controversial, and unpredictable. Buckle up, this isn't going to be a slow ride. The Flacco trade didn't happen in a vacuum. Behind the headlines lies a simmering power struggle that has quietly defined the Cleveland Browns' organization for months. At the center of it all is the clash between Jimmy Haslam, the owner determined to shape the franchise his way, and Kevin Stefanski, the head coach trying to maintain control over football decisions. This wasn't just a disagreement about talent or strategy. It was a battle of philosophies, a conflict between ownership prerogative and traditional football hierarchy. For weeks, Flacco acted as the buffer, the experienced veteran providing a shield for Stefanski's coaching timeline. His presence allowed the coach to argue for measured development, to emphasize veteran leadership, and to justify maintaining stability within the offense. But it also created friction, as every practice, every play, and every game spotlighted the inevitable transition to Shedeur Sanders, the young quarterback everyone knew was the future. The trade marks the first decisive victory for ownership in this internal war. Sources indicate that Haslam had long pushed for Sanders' immediate elevation, seeing the rookie's talent as undeniable and his brand potential as a league-level draw. Stefanski resisted, citing the importance of veteran experience, structured progression, and development timelines. In this struggle, Flacco became both a player and a symbol, a convenient obstacle blocking the path to the change Haslam wanted. His departure signifies more than just a roster adjustment. It represents ownership asserting authority, the coaching staff's resistance finally crumbling under pressure, and a message to the league that Haslam's vision now overrides traditional protocols. But the drama doesn't end there. Stefanski's compromise comes at a cost. By surrendering to ownership, he risks professional credibility, undermines the developmental philosophy he worked to build, and signals to players and staff that authority is conditional, not absolute. Every coach in the league watching this scenario now has a case study in front of them. What happens when an owner directly intervenes in personnel decisions mid-season, forcing a shift that contradicts established strategy? It's a situation that questions not just authority, but organizational culture, accountability, and the long-term sustainability of decision-making processes. Meanwhile, the ripple effects of this power struggle extend beyond the front office. Offensive coordinators, defensive staff, and even general managers find themselves caught in a delicate balancing act, navigating owner mandates while trying to maintain functional leadership and locker room stability. For GM Andrew Barry, the situation is particularly complex, tasked with executing directives that contradict his own recommendations, forced to reconcile professional responsibility with imposed authority. The trade exposes philosophical divisions that have quietly existed for years within the Browns' hierarchy, now made glaringly public through a single, shocking transaction. Ultimately, this organizational struggle sets the stage for everything that follows. The quarterback controversy is no longer just a football story. It's a tale of influence, control, and power. Ownership has spoken, coaching authority has been tested, and the franchise itself has been forced to realign. Every decision moving forward, from play calling to roster moves, will be viewed through the lens of this upheaval. Flacco's departure is merely the first visible marker of a larger war, one that will determine not just wins and losses, but the identity of the Cleveland Browns for years to come. The Flacco trade didn't just shake the front office, it sent shockwaves straight into the locker room. Veterans, rookies, and coaches alike suddenly found themselves navigating a landscape completely altered overnight. Reports suggest that reactions were split almost immediately, revealing tensions and excitement in equal measure. Some veteran players reportedly welcomed the change, relieved that they no longer had to block for a traditional, aging quarterback and could adjust to a more athletic, dynamic signal caller. For these players, Shedeur Sanders' arrival promised the possibility of explosive plays, creative improvisation, and a fresh energy that could lift the entire offense. They saw the potential to showcase their own skills in new ways, adapting to an offense that rewards mobility and unpredictability. But not everyone in the locker room shared that optimism. Defensive veterans, in particular, reportedly expressed concern about whether the organization was prioritizing immediate wins or simply appeasing ownership and fan expectations. They watched as the coaching staff abandoned the carefully constructed developmental timeline in favor of a high-stakes gamble, and questions began to swirl. Does this move make the Browns more competitive, or does it expose deeper dysfunction? These philosophical divisions aren't just abstract. They shape practice reps, game planning, and even interpersonal dynamics within the team. For a unit that relies on cohesion and trust, that's a major challenge.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button.
Offensive linemen, in particular, faced an immediate recalibration. Blocking for Flacco meant protecting a quarterback who operated exclusively from the pocket, with predictable patterns and timing. Blocking for Sanders, however, introduces an entirely different set of variables: scrambling, extending plays, and forcing linemen into improvisational situations. Some players reportedly admitted privately that while they were excited to work with a quarterback who could create highlight-worthy plays, the process felt messy, demanding rapid adjustment under intense scrutiny. Every practice became a test of adaptability, every drill a reminder that the offensive foundation was now shifting beneath their feet. The mental energy required extended far beyond the physical. Reports indicate that players constantly evaluated the optics of the move, understanding that fans and media were watching their every reaction. Every comment, every expression, every sideline gesture could be dissected and amplified online. Veteran players, accustomed to controlling narratives through performance and quiet professionalism, suddenly found themselves navigating a cultural phenomenon where social media, national attention, and the expectations of a desperate fan base created unprecedented pressure. Even leadership dynamics within the locker room were affected. Team captains reportedly attempted to mediate, balancing excitement for Sanders, talent with concern about stability and cohesion. Behind the scenes, conversations about accountability, trust, and communication intensified. Players understood that talent alone wouldn't guarantee success. The organization needed alignment, coaching, ownership, and the roster all operating with a shared vision. Right now, that alignment was fractured. Ultimately, the locker room became a microcosm of the larger organizational struggle. Every practice, every meeting, every interaction reflected the tension between tradition and innovation, stability and excitement, veteran authority and rookie promise. Sanders' elevation didn't just introduce a new quarterback, it introduced a new culture, a new dynamic, and a new set of expectations. How the players respond in these critical weeks will determine not only the offense's effectiveness, but also the trajectory of the Browns' season. For now, one thing is clear. The locker room is buzzing, divided, and under pressure, and every decision from this point forward carries enormous consequences for the team's identity. As news of Joe Flacco's trade and Shedeur Sanders' elevation spread, the fan reaction was immediate, intense, and unforgettable. Browns Nation erupted across every conceivable platform, transforming a football transaction into a full-blown cultural event. On Twitter, hashtags exploded within minutes, celebration, debate, and outrage all intertwined. Reddit threads swelled with thousands of comments, fans dissecting every angle, comparing Flacco's steady veteran presence to Sanders' explosive potential. Even casual observers joined in, sharing highlight reels, memes, and predictions that swung wildly between cautious optimism and outright Super Bowl hype. Facebook groups became flooded with screenshots, player analyses, and animated discussions. Local sports radio switchboards lit up instantly, every caller weighing in with opinions ranging from strategic praise to criticism of organizational chaos. Instagram transformed into a highlight reel haven, with fans overlaying motivational quotes on practice footage, photoshopped images of Sanders in Browns gear, and compilations celebrating his athleticism. The city itself seemed to pulse with excitement. Stores sold Sanders jerseys, bar conversations pivoted to quarterback speculation, and local sports personalities debated endlessly on air. For a fan base long accustomed to disappointment, this was more than just a trade. It was vindication, a collective catharsis. Cleveland fans have endured decades of heartbreak and quarterback failures. Bernie Kosar's departure, Tim Couch's struggles, Brady Quinn's underwhelming performances, Brandon Whedon's brief tenure, Johnny Manziel's implosion, Baker Mayfield's collapse, each added layers of frustration and skepticism. Finally, the arrival of Shedeur Sanders offers hope of a new era, a potential savior who embodies both talent and lineage. For many fans, it feels like the culmination of years of patience. Their expectations, however, have skyrocketed, often teetering on the edge of unrealistic. Every incomplete pass is instantly scrutinized. Every turnover fuels debates over whether the team acted too hastily. Every successful play sparks claims that a Super Bowl is suddenly within reach. Yet this fan frenzy is not just emotional, it has strategic implications. Social media pressure reaches coaches, players, and even front office executives. Analysts and journalists notice, often amplifying narratives, adding to the scrutiny. Suddenly, Brown's practices are examined frame by frame. Highlight reels become viral overnight. YouTube creators dissect body language, throwing fuel onto the fire. TikTok explodes with compilations, each clip analyzed, remixed, and shared. A single mistake can generate thousands of comments. A single highlight can spark mass excitement. The fan's voice, once distant, now feels omnipresent, shaping perceptions, influencing discussions, and ratcheting up stakes for Sanders' performance. This frenzy reflects the duality of Cleveland fandom, relentless loyalty mixed with intense scrutiny. Every fan feels personally invested, carrying the emotional weight of decades of disappointment while simultaneously projecting hopes onto a young quarterback in his first true test. It's a mix of celebration, anxiety, and obsession, creating a pressure cooker environment that few rookie quarterbacks in NFL history have experienced. The excitement is palpable, the expectations sky-high, and the city's emotional investment immediate. Ultimately, Browns fans have turned a football trade into a nationwide spectacle. The city's passion, social media explosion, and cultural commentary ensure that Sanders' debut will be more than a game. It will be an event, a defining moment, a test of patience, skill, and composure. The fan frenzy guarantees that every snap will be watched, every decision analyzed, and every result magnified. Cleveland isn't just observing history, they're actively shaping it, and the intensity of their involvement ensures that Shedeur Sanders' first starts will be remembered, debated, and celebrated long after the games are over. The trade's impact stretches far beyond Cleveland's locker room. Divisional dynamics and strategic consequences are now front and center. Joe Flacco joining the Cincinnati Bengals is a masterstroke of irony and immediate competitive advantage. Suddenly, a division rival gains intimate knowledge of Cleveland's offensive system, play-calling tendencies, protection schemes, route combinations, and personnel strengths. Flacco participated fully in training camp, absorbing every detail of the playbook, and now that insight could prove invaluable when the teams meet twice during the regular season. The Bengals effectively acquire a blueprint of Cleveland's offense, while the Browns take a gamble on an unproven rookie quarterback under intense pressure. League insiders reportedly recognize the implications immediately. One anonymous executive bluntly stated, "Cleveland basically handed Cincinnati a free scouting report while publicly signaling organizational dysfunction." The optics alone are damaging. Beyond X's and O's, this move reflects a franchise at war with itself, exposing vulnerabilities that opponents are eager to exploit. Every defensive coordinator in the AFC North is now adjusting game plans, anticipating rookie inexperience, testing protection recognition, and designing exotic blitz packages to force mistakes. For the Browns, it's no longer just about who plays quarterback. It's about navigating a league that is already capitalizing on internal instability. The strategic stakes extend even further. Cincinnati gains a safety net behind Joe Burrow while acquiring insider knowledge that could influence not just upcoming matchups, but playoff seeding and long-term divisional positioning. For Cleveland, the gamble is immense. Elevating Sanders prematurely might energize the offense, create explosive plays, and captivate fans, but it also risks exposing systemic weaknesses, mistakes, and inefficiencies at the worst possible time. Every snap will be analyzed, not just for talent, but for the broader implications on the division and the team's playoff trajectory. This scenario also sends a signal league-wide. Ownership intervention, organizational discord, and rapid shifts in strategy are no longer theoretical concerns. They are now tangible, publicized, and impactful. The Flacco trade transforms from a quarterback transaction into a case study in competitive vulnerability, a cautionary tale of what happens when internal battles intersect with divisional rivalries. Cleveland's choices don't exist in isolation. They shape the strategies, expectations, and preparations of every rival in the division. The Browns' quarterback upheaval didn't just make waves in Cleveland. It instantly became a national story, dominating headlines, broadcasts, and social media feeds. From ESPN to FS1, analysts dissected the Flacco trade and Shedeur Sanders' promotion endlessly, debating coaching decisions, organizational authority, and divisional strategy. Long-form articles, podcasts, and television segments explored every angle, from ownership influence to locker room dynamics. The Browns suddenly went from a regional storyline to the NFL's central narrative, eclipsing even playoff races and injury updates. Social media amplified the frenzy exponentially. Twitter exploded with reactions, trending topics, and viral highlight clips. Reddit threads swelled with fan analyses, debates, and memes, while TikTok and Instagram became hubs for creative compilations of Sanders' preseason and practice performances. Every gesture, every throw, every sideline expression was examined, reinterpreted, and reshared, creating a cultural feedback loop where media attention and fan obsession fed into one another. The narrative around Sanders went beyond football, positioning him as a new-era quarterback with celebrity potential, a social media brand, and the face of Cleveland's future. Even broader cultural implications emerged. The story highlights a shift in how NFL organizations are perceived, not just as football teams, but as entertainment brands under intense scrutiny. Ownership decisions, coaching dynamics, and player personalities are no longer confined to the field. They're part of a media ecosystem where narratives can drive ratings, influence public perception, and impact sponsorship and marketing opportunities. Sanders' elevation embodies this intersection of sport and spectacle, attracting attention not only from fans, but from advertisers, commentators, and analysts eager to capitalize on the drama. The media and cultural impact also places extraordinary pressure on the players. Shedeur Sanders, in particular, navigates unprecedented visibility for a rookie quarterback, balancing athletic performance with the expectations of fans, media, and league stakeholders. Every highlight clip, mistake, or interview is magnified, shaping both perception and narrative. This environment transforms a football decision into a broader social event, where on-field performance intersects with reputation management, public relations, and cultural relevance. Ultimately, the Browns' quarterback story is more than a personnel change. It's a media and cultural phenomenon. The transaction ignites debates, captivates audiences nationwide, and positions Sanders as a central figure in a story that transcends football, merging sport, celebrity, and organizational drama into a compelling narrative that will continue to dominate headlines for weeks, if not the entire season. The Flacco trade and Shedeur Sanders' elevation immediately reshaped the Browns' season trajectory, with implications reaching far beyond a single game. Cleveland now faces a high-stakes experiment, a rookie quarterback thrown into a primetime division matchup against the Ravens, under intense media scrutiny, fan expectations, and internal organizational pressure. Every performance will influence playoff possibilities, divisional standings, and even the perception of the front office. A strong start could validate ownership's aggressive approach, energize the locker room, and give the Browns momentum toward a postseason run. Any struggles, however, risk magnifying dysfunction, exposing strategic vulnerabilities, and derailing playoff hopes during the most critical stretch of the season. The immediate consequences extend to the offensive line, coaching staff, and game planning. Coaches must tailor schemes to Sanders' strengths while minimizing his inexperience. Offensive linemen adjust to his mobility and improvisational style, while defensive coordinators in the division now target potential weaknesses, knowing that Cleveland is experimenting under pressure. Each week represents a live test not just of Sanders' talent, but of organizational adaptability, coaching acumen, and player resilience. The Browns' season has transformed from a measured rebuild into a high-stakes trial, with playoff consequences hanging in the balance. Beyond this season, the long-term ramifications are equally significant. Ownership's willingness to override traditional developmental timelines has set a new precedent, influencing coaching authority, front office decisions, and organizational culture for years to come. If Sanders thrives, the franchise could accelerate its trajectory, establishing him as a cornerstone and redefining Cleveland's approach to quarterback development. If he struggles, the organization faces not only immediate consequences in the standings, but potential reputational damage, making free agent acquisitions and future draft strategies more complicated. In essence, the Browns are now navigating both opportunity and risk simultaneously. Sanders' performance will dictate short-term outcomes, wins, losses, playoff contention, but it will also shape long-term identity. Cleveland is betting on talent, mental fortitude, and organizational adaptability over traditional stability, and the consequences of this gamble will echo through future seasons. The coming weeks are critical, as every snap, every play, and every decision will define not only the immediate fate of the team, but the foundation upon which the franchise builds its future. The Browns traded predictability for potential, veteran stability for exciting uncertainty, and now the ultimate question remains. Can this bold gamble pay off, or will the risks reshape the franchise trajectory for years to come? As the dust settles on one of the most dramatic quarterback transitions in recent Browns history, the full scope of this decision becomes clear. It is about far more than a single player or a trade. Cleveland has traded veteran stability for explosive potential, measured consistency for exciting uncertainty, and traditional hierarchy for owner-driven decisiveness. The ramifications ripple across every layer of the organization, from coaching staff to front office, from locker room dynamics to fan expectations, and even into the broader league landscape. Every decision, every snap, every highlight now carries amplified significance, influencing perceptions both inside and outside the franchise. This is a season defined not only by wins and losses, but by the willingness of an organization to embrace risk and challenge tradition. Kevin Stefanski faces an unprecedented coaching trial, balancing developmental philosophies with ownership mandates, while Andrew Barry navigates a delicate position of authority constrained by executive directives. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders steps into the spotlight, confronting not only divisional defenses but the weight of national attention, media scrutiny, and fan expectation. Every performance will shape his legacy, the Browns' trajectory, and the perception of leadership in a league that watches, analyzes, and critiques relentlessly. Beyond the immediate, the implications extend into the future. The way Cleveland handles this season sets a precedent for organizational authority, player development, and ownership influence. A successful rookie quarterback could accelerate the franchise's rebuild, establish a new identity, and validate a bold, unconventional approach. Conversely, struggles could reinforce fears about internal dysfunction, heighten fan frustration, and create long-term challenges for trust, culture, and roster management. Every decision, past, present, and forthcoming, now carries disproportionate weight in shaping not just this year, but the Browns' identity for years to come. Ultimately, the story of this trade and Sanders' elevation is about more than football. It is about leadership, ambition, risk, and the complex interplay between talent, authority, and expectation. Cleveland fans, media, and league observers are watching closely, knowing that this is a defining chapter in franchise history. The journey has only just begun, and one certainty remains. The Browns' experiment with Shedeur Sanders will be remembered as a pivotal moment, a gamble that could either redefine the team or become a cautionary tale of high stakes and audacious decisions. Welcome to the Shedeur Sanders era, where potential meets pressure, and every play, every decision, and every outcome matters. Buckle up, because this ride promises to be wild, unpredictable, and unforgettable.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.